Hello, I'm Jolyon Hallows. This video is my application to be the keynote speaker for the National Caregiving Conference in Chicago this November. In a shameless attempt to influence the judges, I am wearing my caregiving t-shirt. Let me tell you why I'd be a great keynote speaker, then I'll give a small sample. First, I'm guessing you probably want someone who's a good speaker. To me, that's a speaker who, 20 minutes into a talk, no more than 1% of the audience has gone to sleep. I'm a good communicator. I've written 2 books. This was my first one. It sold so well that the publisher commissioned a second edition. This one. My second book, this one, was also printed a second time. This time in Japanese. At least I'm told it's Japanese. I have to take that on trust. These books generated a career as a speaker and an instructor. I've led seminars in Malaysia, the Philippines, and across Canada and the United States, including a couple in Chicago. I've personally trained over 1,000 people. Am I good? Well, they keep inviting me back. But I've also given talks in other areas. I've given talks on critical thinking, which included a neat magic act. I've spoken to seniors about fraud protection and safe surfing on the internet, and I'm about to give a talk on Parkinson's disease. Oh, I've also given talks on how to give effective talks, on presentation skills. Now, in your search for a speaker, you probably also want one with a passing knowledge of caregiving. My wife was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 1996. She passed away earlier this year. That's over 20 years of caregiving. If Parkinson's has a plus side, it's that it's usually slow moving. That gave me time to adapt to caregiving and to predict and plan what was coming next. I could be proactive instead of having to scramble around in response to the latest crisis, although there was a lot of that. I had the time and the inclination to organize myself as a caregiver. I've put a framework around it, a structure I call a roadmap, which I've described in a forthcoming book. My purpose, maybe even my mission, is to help caregivers who are wrestling with that role. Now, I'd like to give a brief proposed excerpt of the talk. I don't prepare any talk until I've conferred with the conference organizers, but this should convey my attitude toward caregivers. Since this is a formal talk, I need to become more formal. Stand by. What's so special about caregiving? It's just another career. It's a job that thousands of people, care aides, nurses, therapists have taken on. Caregivers are just people who have chosen to become caregivers instead of, say, mechanics or accountants. But these are professionals. They chose it. Family caregivers, you and I, were thrown into the role of caregiving by circumstances, not by choice. And there are 3 major differences we face. The first is that unlike professionals, we're not trained. We haven't learned how to give a bed bath or dress someone who can't stand up. We haven't studied CPR, skin breakdown protocols, preventing falls, infection control, medication administration, or any of the other specialties professionals have learned. We get thrown into the job with no training, no knowledge, and no colleagues to help us or to fix things when we mess up. The second difference is that professionals work about 40 hours a week. They put in their shifts, then go home to their families, friends, and recreations. But family caregivers are full-time, all day, every day, including the middle of the night. 40 hours? There are 168 hours in a week, and we're on call for all of them. That's quadruple time we're working. No professional does that. But the third difference is the hardest. We're working with people we love. People close to us whose lives have been slammed by some misfortune. Sure, good professionals care about their patients, but let's face it, at the end of the day they go home. When a patient dies, they shed a tear, send flowers, and go on to the next one. To us, watching the people we love deteriorate is painful. I had to feed my wife. Now, that's easy, just put the food onto a fork and put it into her mouth. The agonizing part was knowing this once vibrant, independent, strong, opinionated, wonderful woman could no longer feed herself. So family caregiving, as opposed to professional caregiving, is hard. We're amateurs called upon to work all day, every day, helping the people we love do what they can no longer do for themselves. So why do we do it? Why not say, I didn't sign up for this, I'm out of here? Well, many people do. For their own private reasons, many turn their backs on people who need care. Do I condemn them? No, I don't know their circumstances, and in any event, condemning others is a waste of time. Instead, I prefer to celebrate those who have chosen to stay. People who roll up their sleeves, face down the disadvantages, and tackle the demands of caregiving are worth cheering on. And that's you, all of you. Each of you has made the decision to be a caregiver. Oh, you may object that you didn't have a choice, but you did. And you chose to stay, to help, and to love. During this conference, I hope that the wonderful people you'll meet here will give you some information, some tips, some advice, strategies and tactics to help you, some hugs, and some support to let you know you're not alone. For me, I'm grateful for being here. I am standing before a room full of heroes, because to me, that's what you are. That concludes this video. I hope it's what you're looking for. Thank you.